Welcome to Viz Artists, your ultimate destination for breathtaking architectural visualizations. Today, we will render this house using Corona in a sunset mood. We obtained this free model from 3D Warehouse and imported it into 3ds Max. Let's start by setting up our camera. Press T for the top view and then select the camera. Make sure we are using the Corona render engine. Choose a Corona camera and press C to activate the camera view. Next, press Shift plus F to show the safe frame. The safe frame borders indicate which portions of the viewport will be visible when rendered. We also need to set a HD ratio. Select the camera to activate the automatic vertical tilt. Select it again and press W to activate the camera move, then enter its height. Adjust the camera position further by selecting the camera target and moving it up, then zooming in. Next, let's start with the lighting. First, create an override material to test the lights. Choose a Corona Legacy material, change the color, then adjust the reflection and glossiness. In the render settings, apply this material to the material override. Now, our scene is ready to test the lights. Add a Corona disc light and uncheck the Visible in Reflections and Refractions option. Adjust the temperature of the light. Move it to adjust the position. Adjust the radius. Then increase the segments to make the light source look smoother. Rename the light and adjust its position. To create a copy, press Shift and choose Instance while moving it. Start interactive rendering to test our lights. Increase the intensity and temperature of the lights. Let's hide the windows so we can copy the lights to the interior spaces. Test the lights again by starting interactive rendering. The interior light source is not appearing in the render, so we need to move it down a little bit. We should create a temperature difference between the exterior and interior lights. Now, let's work on the environment light. We need to add an HDRI map. We can do this through the Corona bitmap. Add color correction to the map. Then open the render settings to add the HDRI in the direct visibility override. Start IR to see the HDRI in our scene. Adjust the saturation and gamma to make it bluer. Rotate the map to get a better background result. We need to make a copy of this map to place it in the scene environment to light the environment. Just move the map and press Shift to make a copy. Then link it to the scene environment. Next, place the map in the reflections and refractions override. Adjust the saturation again as needed. Now we can start adding materials. We will use materials from the Corona library. Open the Corona material library to begin. Press P to deactivate the camera view and switch to the perspective view. Let's start with the window material. Select the windows and isolate the selection. Open the groups to select the glass and mullions. Select all the glass panes and apply a clear glass material to them. Then hide them. Next, select all the mullions and apply an aluminum material to them. We can also add this aluminum material to the roof edge. Let's add white paint material to the white wall. Then, add stone material to this wall. We need to add a UVW map modifier to adjust the texture of the stone material. Choose Box for the mapping and adjust the parameters. Select the floor to add concrete material to it. Simply select the material and drop it onto the surface to apply it. Add a UVW map to adjust the concrete texture. For this stair, we can also add a concrete material. This window is not visible in the camera view, but let's apply material to it as well. For other materials, such as interior furniture and the kitchen, they are secondary materials and not as prominent as the main materials. So, we can convert them to Corona materials using a script. Select all the models you want to convert. This script is very useful if you want to create materials quickly or if you have a model from a SketchUp file. You can convert the materials instead of creating them from scratch separately. Then run the script and choose the appropriate script. Let's test to ensure the materials converted correctly. To do this, we need to uncheck the material override so we can see the scene materials in the render. Start interactive rendering to see the materials. They look nice. We can adjust the temperature of the interior lights as needed. Now that we've finished with the materials, let's work on the landscape. We can use Chaos assets as they have a lot of useful assets available. Let's open the Cosmos browser. If you encounter any issues, simply search for Stop Chaos Cosmos Browser in the Windows search bar and click on it. Then, search for Start Chaos Cosmos Browser and click on it. Now the Cosmos browser should work. We can see that the library has a lot of high-quality assets for all elements. Let's work on the landscape. Let's add this grass. It's distributed on a surface, so we can remove this surface and add our own. We'll add bushes in the same way. Remove the surface and add ours. Let's test it now. We can see that the bushes are too tall. We need to adjust the height parameter. We can do this in the scale section. Then, we need to increase the number of bushes. In the surface scattering section, we can increase the count or decrease the distance between them. Looks nice. Let's add some trees. Choose a tree from the library. You can see that the assets are imported as a proxy. We can change the preview to make it a full mesh. Move and scale it to adjust the orientation of the tree. To make a copy, just move it, press Shift, and rotate it. Let's add another tree to our scene. Choose these trees and add them. Move and rotate for better composition. For the second tree, change the preview to a full mesh to see it clearly. Move and scale it. Then copy and move it. Let's test it now. Let's add some bushes in the foreground. Choose these bushes and move them to the foreground for better composition. You can see that these assets save us time instead of searching for other assets on the internet. They help us make our composition quickly. Let's try to create variety for the bushes, both in types and their parameters, to make them look more random. We can randomize their scale and rotation. The importance of greenery in architectural visualization cannot be overstated. Trees, bushes, and other plants add realism and make your scenes feel more natural and livable. Using a variety of plants mimics nature's diversity and avoids repetitive patterns. Greenery can frame your buildings, guiding the viewer's eye towards key architectural features, and create depth by placing it in the foreground, middle ground, and background, adding layers to your composition. It also softens hard edges and adds color contrast, with vibrant greens beautifully offsetting urban materials like concrete and steel. Remember to use high-quality assets and vary the types, sizes, and placements of your plants to achieve a natural look. Start the interactive render to see the result. It looks nice now. For the spotlights, you can see that their size was huge. Let's make them smaller. Looks better now. Let's add curtains to make the interior spaces look better. When working on an exterior scene, adding furniture to interior spaces is crucial for several reasons. First, it adds a sense of realism and livability, helping viewers imagine how the space would be used in real life. Visible furniture through windows or glass doors provides context and scale, making the building feel more inviting and inhabited. It also enhances the overall aesthetic by adding layers and depth to your composition, creating a more dynamic and engaging visual. High-quality furniture assets can also introduce color, texture, and style that complement the exterior design, creating a cohesive and harmonious look. Remember to choose furniture that matches the architectural style and use appropriate lighting to highlight these interior details effectively. Test it again. We can add some fill lights outdoors to create a gradient in the foreground. Take a copy of this light and convert it to a sphere light. Uncheck Visible Directly because we don't need the light source to appear. Start the interactive render to test. If we don't see the effect of the fill light, we need to increase its radius or intensity. Take a copy to make the foreground brighter. Adding fill lights in outdoor scenes is essential for achieving a balanced and realistic lighting setup. Fill lights help to reduce harsh shadows created by the primary light source, such as the sun, making your scene look more natural and visually appealing. They can enhance the details in shaded areas, bringing out textures and colors that would otherwise be lost. When positioning fill lights, aim for a subtle effect that complements the main light source. Adjust the intensity and color temperature to match the natural lighting, and consider using multiple fill lights at different angles to create a soft, even illumination. This technique not only improves the overall aesthetic but also adds depth and dimension to your outdoor scenes, making them more engaging and lifelike. Looks good now. I think we are finished and ready for the final render. Go to the render settings. In the denoising section, choose Corona High Quality mode and set the noise level to 2.5. For noise levels, better values are 5 for test renders and 2.5 for final renders. We will explain render elements in the next lessons because they are very important. We can activate the light mix. It's useful if you want to change the color or intensity of the light after you finish the render. Adjust the output size for the final render. Now, let's start the final render. Once we finish the render and reach a noise level of 2.5, In the light mix section, you can see the scene lights and make adjustments after the render is complete. We can add LUTs. LUTs are the quickest way to grade your footage once you've color corrected it. Corona has a ready LUT library. We will use this LUT from 3D Collective. We can save the image and open it in Photoshop to make some adjustments. Let's try auto contrast. We can use the remove tool to fix any issues. In our next lessons, we will discuss post-production as well. Thank you for watching.